Hello, everybody. We are back for another modern competitive league with black-white tokens. We are a week, yeah, just a week past Grand PLA. I was actually playing a lot this week online. I was just kind of got re-enthused playing the deck after the GP and doing the little deck tech recap from you guys, and then a lot of discussions. So, actually, been playing a lot this week. Don't have a lot of time to play this much, but I kind of made myself and made it work. Played a few leagues with the deck as I played at the GP with the changes I had made, just the small little changes that I had made as I discussed. And kind of between those couple leagues I played and the GP, wanted to make a couple minor adjustments. Big thing really was kind of what I was finding was the games I was losing were actually mostly to just unanswered creatures, or like just a lot of aggressive decks. And so I know a lot of people run 4 path 3 push. I've always been 2 push just because I just feel like there's so many non-creature matchups, or matchups, like Tron and control matchups. They always have the Colonnade usually, but a lot of matchups where the Fatal Push isn't very good. I didn't want to main deck it, but I just many matchups where I wished I would have had more of this. And then also I found I was losing games where I maybe was interacting with them very successfully. I just wasn't drawing threats enough. So that, to slightly solve that, I just added another Spectral Procession here. So added those 2 cards. So kind of a little bit of more interaction and more threats. To do that, I took out the 2 Liliana's main deck. And a lot of people are down on the card. I think she's still very, very good in a lot of matchups, but certainly could be a sideboard card. And so I just moved her to the sideboard and added these. Kept Kaya in. Just want to test it out more. I want to see where she fits in this deck and in the metagame. And a lot of it, as people have said, she just doesn't really fit in this deck per se. And so she's not like one of the other planeswalkers that makes tokens, or even Liliana. Like us discarding cards, especially like Lingering Souls or removal spells we don't need, is relevant. Kaya's she just happens to be in our colors, not necessarily something that fits in our deck. But I also think she just happens to be good in the metagame. So I'm just testing it out. I think she's probably a sideboard card, but I'm just been putting one in the main deck just to test her out a little bit further. And I don't really want more than one in the sideboard either, more than one in the 75. So I just throw a main deck just to test it out. But in order to have these Lilianas in the sideboard, what did I cut? I cut the Cabal. It is a card I'm curious in testing out more. I found I wasn't bringing it in as much as I thought I would, and even then when I did, it wasn't that relevant. And then I cut the Wrath of God. I kept Settled Wreckage, but I cut the Wrath of God just thinking I have more tokens out that I may want to keep alive, and then a little more interaction for those matchups. So kept that. Then the other thing I did, I've been running into a lot of affinity in both Hardened Scales and other variants that you'll see in some previous matches that I'm going to post later. I'll get to that. And then obviously, like, it's good against Tron, and Tron's still popular and all that. So I went back up to 3 Stony Silence, which is what a lot of us were doing when KCI was around. And I just cut the Rest in Peace. I'm hoping that just with the 3 surgical effects and Kaya, it's hopefully enough. I don't know if that's enough, but it is. And surgical is bringing in a lot. Rest in Peace is really only bringing in against Dredge, maybe Storm, and I can't think of what else. Obviously any kind of like Vengevine, Bridge from Below deck, but those decks aren't very popular anymore. Because even Hollow One, Rest in Peace is good, but not huge. So I figured, obviously with Dredge and Hollow One, like the 3 Auriok Champions and Settle the Wreckages are pretty good there. And then obviously Surgical still do their job in those matchups. So, and Kaya, so it should be okay with all of that. So those are the tweaks. Still going with 3 Sorens. I like the life gain a lot instead of the 2 Sorens and a Gideon. The other option was to go 3 Sorens and a Gideon and 1 Spectral or something like that. Obviously could cut a Kaya and add a Gideon into this deck. That's one of the, probably would be the easiest slot to change up. But we'll see how the matches go in this league. And then what I will also do is the practice leagues I was running with the GP list, I was recording just for my own science, basically, just so I could go back and watch them. And I tend to talk through it just to practice recording, but not all of them came out good for posting. Like not all the recordings were full all the way through. Some of them I stopped midway for various reasons, whether it's just how the game was going or baby crying or whatnot. So this league, I do have some time to sit down and play all 5 matches and get them recorded, but I will also post some bonus matches from recordings I've had from the last week or so of testing. So hope you guys enjoy all the videos. Should be a lot of content coming out, and then should be a lot of content coming out in the next few months. I said this in my last video, but I have a lot of ideas of things I want to get done before Modern Horizons comes out, because I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of testing and tweaking and recording after Modern Horizons. But there's a lot of things I want to do here versus stockpile, and then even just non-tokens lists, like just black-white mid-range lists that I've messed around with, that people have thrown at me. I've been playing some Esper Death Shadow, which has been pretty interesting, that I'll probably make some video series about. So if there's things that people want to see or would like to see, let me know. It might be as blasphemous as it might sound. I'm going to be deviating from tokens a little bit, probably over the next few months. Not entirely, but a little bit, just to add a little variety here. And then once Horizons comes out in June, we'll certainly be testing a lot of additions into this deck. So hoping to do a lot more this year, just with exciting things happening in Modern. It means good stuff for us who like to play Modern. So thanks again everybody for watching, and hope you enjoy the league.